It says, Kol ha-svarim meleim b'dover zeh. Everything the Rambam writes that all books of Torah, all the Nevi'im are filled about Moshiach. The Rebbe says even those Psukim, they don't seem to be speaking about Moshiach. Also, if you dig further, you'll find the connection with Moshiach. The Sifri says that there's no pasuk in the Torah, I think. Not, you can't find the Emes with Chiyas HaMesim. If you dig, there's a certain Ramaz in Chiyas HaMesim, there's plenty of other Ramazim that you could find. The Torah. Anyway, B'chaleifin. What I wanted to speak today is about major Pulim, Chidushim, but it's the discussion of the idea of Bitochon, or trust, for the coming of Moshiach. So I've spoken in the past about the idea of Mechaka l'biyosei, awaiting Moshiach. Part of the concept of Mechaka l'biyosei, the word Mechaka, it says, if he tarries, you should await his coming. Await his coming every day. The word Mechaka, what does Mechaka mean? So, huh?
If you don't have trust.
I never said that. Mashiach will come whether you trust or you don't trust.
Why do you have to have trust?
Why do you have to have trust? It's a good question. The money on the dollar bills, it says, in God we trust. So that means even the money tells you have to have trust, no? So he's mashma, that you have to trust in the Eibishter. But b'chaleifin. So the idea of Bitochon, the idea of trusting, the idea of trusting the Eibishter from Moshiach, there's the word Mechaka, there's a mimer of the Rebbe Rashab, Avram Zokan Baba Yavim Samach Vav. It's a famous mimer, it discusses it, the Zoyar, on the pasuk of Akim Yasel and Mechakaloi. The Eibishter will reward those that await him. And he writes, Pshat, he says that the meaning of Mechaka, it's not Rebbe Rashab's Chiddush, he says the meaning of Mechaka, awaiting, has two meanings. It has Hamtana, you're waiting for something to happen. It also has the meaning of Tikva, of hope, of Bitochon. Mechaka could mean you're waiting, in different contexts it could mean different, it could focus on one word than the other.
Waiting every day.
That the whole, not just the whole day, the Kol Hayom, every second of the day, the whole Klolos Hayom. Yeah? What is a person's goal in life? That he should become a lamb, and he should make money, he should have material blessings, spiritual blessings. Huh? America is based on money. So what's a person's goal? If a person really wants money, let him hope for Mashiach, because the money he has today. So you'll take them. What? No, but Ashrei kol choicheloi, imis mameya chakeloi, doesn't just mean you should wait. It says Ashrei ha-mechake v'yagim. Mechake doesn't just mean wait. It means he trusts, he hopes. That's clearly in the Psukim. Listen, the one that spells it out clearly is the Rebbe Rashab and the Maimer of Ram Zok and Samva. If you want to know in the earlier Mefarshim, the Radak, the Machlon, I don't know, I didn't get a chance to check. But it says,
Shiur, what does it mean? You were waiting, the cane didn't come.
So that's the Lashon Tzipisa.
Tzipisa means tzipisa. It means really waiting, not hope. Hope. You hope a little bit.
Expect.
Living by being it's going to come.
2,000 years we expecting. What happened?
It's a good question.
What about 10,000? And I can tell you, if you know you're expecting a lottery win, you cannot live 5,000, but you'll wait. I don't mean you, me.
So over here, it's a very good question. We discussed this in the past. The word take is that I thought it's a very Yusaidistic word, but it's a very simple word. If you believe something will really happen, the more time it takes for it to happen, is it right that it's going to happen right now? What's the mashal? Simple mashal that I made up, but I think it brings out the point. If you have someone, your friend tells you, I mentioned this before, your friend tells you he's going to come tonight. Okay, he's expecting him to come 7, 8, comes 9, 10, 11. Once it reaches, past the time people leave their houses, once it comes 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're miyayish, it's over, he's not coming, you give up. Well, let's say your mother tells the children she's coming back tonight. She had to go out to an appointment. she has to go
joke,
back
it was
to.
really true.
Yeah, but that's a very good story. She has it in a second. I just want to finish off this point. So a mother tells a child, I'm coming home tonight. I'm just going out. It comes 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. But the child knows that the mother's for sure coming home. So the later it gets, came 8 o'clock, I thought, okay, maybe the mother will come home now. Maybe in an hour. It comes 10 o'clock. Wow, it's getting late. But maybe something happened. It gets 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. It must be happening right now. So Mefarshim say that the Mabit writes, that the Marie Kurkus writes, when something is really going to happen, the fact that it's being delayed is a reason you should wait even more that it should happen now. But at any rate, that the mashal that they give, what the mashal is based on, is, and the truth is, I don't want to get into it, there's a certain Musar Sefer. The truth is, whatever, I don't want to discuss, so Hab Nalichtikin Ganeden, the one that made this mashal.
We have to suffer more.
God forbid that you didn't get the whole point.
You wait more. You suffer
No,
more.
if you don't understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you believe it's going to happen, you won't say, oh, it happened 2,000 years, so let me just give up. We waited already 2,000 years, let me give up. If you really believe, then the fact that it happened, you waited 2,000 years, so Vifla Shiur, it must be happening already. If you don't believe, so then if you waited 2,000 years, it didn't happen, it probably won't happen at all. That's the difference. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure that if you said clearly it's going to happen.
Tell the Maisa with Chazad the Maisa, very geschmack in Maisa.
He was filled to the story of Shvei. They were away. They lived in an area. They ran. The father passed away, so that's some of their mother. So it was, I think it was in Hara. I'm not really sure, but I think so. So they met. So he used to go over there. Shalom, the father, which is Rabbi's the
It's just father.
Yeah. So the mother, Munya Shvei, met him, and he weren't allowed to talk in the street with, couldn't read me it was terrible because of scum to talk. But she was Melamis and she wants to ask him something very important. He didn't know who she was. They were running this time. He didn't know who this Lubavitch family was. They had no idea who she was.
Be a spy.
I go up on him. She modeled him quietly. She knows, I need you to take my child to yeshiva. My child is here. He says, no, there's no yeshiva here. So, the whole story was he wasn't asking, and he would do this. He says, come on, take a child meant if you don't have documents clearly, it's your child. You can send you to Sibir in a second. So no problem there. I thought she pushed one child on it, and he took it. It was the older child. It was my child. Then afterward he.
Rabbi Isaac,
first was Baruch Sholom. Then it was afterward Isaac, and every time she did it, are you crazy? You're doing it anyway. He wouldn't take any more children. And this child was turning 6 years old. Actually, turning 6 years old. So a couple of them, she just didn't ask him. She found out when he was coming and was leaving. She picked up her child and put him onto the train, on the luggages. I told him, Mila, it's laying quiet, nobody can see you. And I told him that he didn't know, but I took the child. And he told him, she told him when they left, she told him, Yankel, I'm going to come, as soon as I have an opportunity, I'm going to come over there to you guys. Rabbi Shvei would turn it already be 5 and after 6. He used to go every single day, walk from yeshiva to the train on his own, without shoes. Didn't have shoes.
7 years old.
A 6-year-old.
6 years old.
He went every day to the train to look for his mother, but for all the time until she came. When she came, I remember heard the story. She said when he came, he saw her. She didn't see him. He was a little baby, a child, and she's looking around. Where am I going to find the person that'll help me? Tell me where the Lubavitch Yeshiva, the Lubavitch Chassidim are. She's coming to Samarkand. She couldn't find, and all of a sudden she's standing. She feels a child, a hand, grabbing her and saying, "Mama." And she was shocked. What, Yankele? How did you know I'm coming? She said, "Mom, you said you're going to come." every single day he went because he knew his mother said she's going to come. He knew she's going to come.
Anyway, so part of awaiting Mashiach means waiting for him, wanting him. It's also Poshet Bitochon, trust that he's going to come. So in the idea of tikva and trust for Mashiach, there's a number of facets, a number of components. That which interesting is the Sefer Ikrim is a Sefer that was written on the principles of faith. But Rabbi Yosef Albo, he disagrees with the Rambam, and one of the Gdolei Yisrael, he had his own sheet in different and the principles of faith, whatever. Once discussed the sheet about Mashiach in the past. So Mamish, right at the end of his Sefer, just right before the end, he discusses at length the idea of Bitochon, the importance of trusting in Hashem, different facets of trust, and he connects it with Mashiach as well. And other Chokri Yisrael, other Gdolei Yisrael also mention these three things. That these three facets are not, you're not going to really find them, and it's more Hakira talk, it's the style of, those times. But there, he says like this: there's three reasons for trust. One reason for trust is what he calls tikvas hachesed. Someone that you trust, the person is kind, and you know the person is kind, and he wants to help, so you trust he's going to help you, even though you don't deserve it. But nevertheless, because of his kindness, you trust him. The second thing is what he calls tikvas hakovid. Tikvas hakovid means that you trust that he's going to help you because it's honorable for him that he helps you. What does that mean? Let's say somebody took care of someone. Somebody took someone under their wing. So if that person is not going to continue taking care of them, so then it's going to look bad on the person himself. So the person that's benefiting from this caretaker could be that he doesn't deserve it, but nevertheless, he knows that the person that's taking care of him will continue taking care of him, because otherwise, that person will be making a fool out of himself. He will be disgracing himself by not fulfilling his what he was doing until now. It looks disgraceful. The third level of trust is what he calls tikvas havtacha. Tikvas havtacha means you hope for something because you were promised it. So now, somebody promised you, and you know he's going to keep his word, so you trust that it's going to happen. So he explains like this. He explains there's a difference between these three things. He says the meshubachas, the best, highest form of trust, in other words, is in the sense, not the one that you know, the one that you know for sure is going to happen are the other ones, but the best form of trust, that is a form of trust that you trust a person's kindness, right? Because in that thing, what should you trust a person's kindness? Trust a person's kindness means there's nothing to do about you whatsoever. It's you. I'm sorry. What he says is like this. He says when a person trusts, he's speaking about obviously trusting the Eibush. When you trust the Eibush's kindness, that itself causes that the Eibush should be kind to you. Because if a person really has Bitochon in the Eibush, he really trusts the Eibishter's chesed. So even if he's not deserving, the Eibishter will help him. But providing that he really trusts in the Eibishter. So tikvas ha-chesed, the trust of chesed, is in a certain sense, in a certain sense, is the strongest form of trust. Because from one hand, the person doesn't feel he deserves it. But he trusts so much that the Eibishter will do it out of his pure kindness, that itself, so to say, makes it happen. Providing that he doesn't, sometimes just Bitochon is al hasafik, so also, but it's not. Then he says, but on the other hand, it's not such a Bitochon, it's the most meshubachas, it's the highest level of Bitochon in the mitzad the person's avodah, but mitzad trusting the Eibusher. In other words, when we're talking about which of these three types of trust is the one that you could say that is the most truest trust, that you could really know for sure it's going to happen. Mitzad the actual thing itself, not just because it trusts the Eibusher's kindness. So, first of all, that the Eibusher will do it mitzad his own honor is more true. In other words, the fact that his own honor means it's totally independent of the person. The fact that Yidden are in Galus is a chilul Hashem. It's a desecration of the Eibusher's name. What did Moshe Rabbeinu tell the Eibusher when the Eibusher wanted to kill the Yidden by the Chet Hegel? He says that what are the Egyptians going to say? that you took them out of Mitzrayim, or by the Meraglim, whatever, different psukim that I think it was by the Meraglim, says that the Goyim will say they're not going to understand what happened. They're going to think they weren't able to keep taking care of them in the desert, so you killed them. So he basically says it's a Chilul Hashem. So it's a desecration of the Eibish's name if the Eibishter won't take care of them. So even though the Yidden don't deserve it, but he was relying on the Eibishter's, it's not Kavadik for the Eibishter. So this level of Bitochon has a mile in the sense that even if the person is not deserving and he doesn't have such full Bitochon, even if Mitzad, the person is not deserving, doesn't have such full Bitochon, the Eibishter will do it. Mitzad has pure kindness, but it's more true. In other words, it's more reliable from all aspects involved that you could say it's going to happen, because if it doesn't happen, it's going to reflect bad, so to say, it's going to be desecration of the Eibishter's name.
What is Bitochon and what is the Emunah?
What's the difference between Bitochon and Amunah? The first of the Sikh in Shmois, the Kudei Sikh is Chelek Lamed Vav, the first Sikh of Shmois, I believe, very fundamental Sikh, which I don't have time. I mean, it's a very beautiful Sikh to speak about. But in general, Amunah means you believe in the Eibishter, but Amunah could also mean that you believe whatever the Eibishter does is good. If things are negative as happening to you, believe that the Eibishter is Gamzula Toiva. You know, the Ayel Rebbe speaks about in Tanya, about accepting the Eibishter does is good. Bitochon means that you believe that even if Al Pi Teva doesn't make sense, that things should be good, and Al Pi Seichel, the person could say that he doesn't see any merit that he has, that he deserves, the Eibishter should do good for him, but he has pure faith, the Eibishter will do good for him. That Bitochon, that's why the Rebbe learns Bitochon. It's a shtickle achidish of the Rebbe in a certain sense, when the Rebbe brings the Chavos Alavavis and such, but there are not all Gedolei Yisrael always understood Bitochon in that light. It's not the Rebbe's chiddush, but I'm saying that in other words, there's other Gedolei Yisrael that said Bitochon means you can't say that a person can be 100% sure of anything will happen. The Rebbe says no, Bitochon means even if a person doesn't deserve it, if you really, I mean, I say Frikram really just says a similar word to what I mentioned. But that's the difference in Amunah and Bitochon. It means I believe what the Eibishter does is good. Do I really trust that it's going to happen? It's a separate story. It will happen what the Eibishter thinks is good, not what I think is good. Any rate, so he says the most tikva achi amitis, the most truest form of trust is you trust because the Eibishter promised. So the fact that the Eibishter is not going to keep Yidden in Galus because it's a desecration for his name, it's also a true point. In other words, it definitely has to happen. But the fact that the Eibishter promises is even more potent. He himself said how he's going to have to do it. So he discussed in our other daily source, they discuss at length various different psukim during the history of the Jewish people, how we see these three different facets of faith and trust in the Eibishter playing itself out. For example, by Gulas Mitzrayim, the redemption from Mitzrayim. So not the Ikrim, but other Sfarim, they explain that you see also over there, certain Midrashim explain how the Eibishter said the Yidden don't deserve to go out of Galus, I'm taking them out for my sake, because of the promise that he made to Avram Avinu by the Bris Ben Absarim, that he'll take them out of Galus, or because of the Eibishter's Chesed. In other words, you see these in different psukim about the Gula Hasid, the future redemption. You also see the Eibishter says, I'll do it for my sake, for that it shouldn't be a desecration of the Eibishter's name, or and so on and so forth. So now he says the Ikrim focuses a lot. I mean, he goes through a few different chapters in Tillim and other things, discusses at length, which I don't remember, not going to get into, but he says how you see that in the different psukim where it discusses the Navi is, particularly in Tillim, where, so to say, the prophets are wailing and begging Hashem to end the Galus. So you see these three, you see in a number of places. One hand you see how, for example, you have the pasuk that speaks about how Yidden in Galus are, Shachal Offer Nafshenu, where our souls hit the earth, we hit rock bottom. So he explains that is the idea of Tikvas HaChesed. What are we trying to say? We're trying to say that the first level of trust is you trust the person because a person is a person that does kindness. So the more a person is suffering, so then the more he deserves kindness. Even if the person doesn't deserve anything, but if a person mamish hits rock bottom, so how much more so if the person b'chlal if someone b'chlal is isha chesed, he does kindness. So when somebody hits rock bottom, all the more you should have faith in the person that he's going to help him. So those psukim that are highlighting how bad Galus is and thus, as the idea we're telling the Eibishter, look how low we are, and you're isha chesed, you're the one that has mercy. How could you allow this to happen? There's other psukim where it focuses on that we say, Leilanu Hashem, Leilanu, don't do it for our sake, do it for your sake. That it's a desecration for the Eibishter's name, that in Galus, Lama Yemuru HaGoyim Hayei Lekeim, why should the nations of the world say, where's the Eibishter? Huh? What does Chus Lares have anything to do? Okay. Okay, and therefore, that's the only reason why we need Moshiach.
You should go to Israel.
If you go to Israel, there was an interesting article someone wrote, a journalist wrote about, all the journalists would ask the Rebbe why the Rebbe doesn't go to Eretz Yisrael. So there's one journalist that wrote that a gechapt in a kuda. The Rebbe would give different answers. He doesn't want to leave. He can't leave. Whatever, it's not important. It's not taking up too much time. But he wrote, the Rebbe didn't say this, but he said, and I left Yechidus with the Rebbe, I said, and this is why the Rebbe doesn't go to Eretz Yisrael. I said, for the Rebbe, going to Eretz Yisrael means you're going to Geula. He said, Eretz Yisrael today is such a matzav of Galus, the Rebbe won't be able to stomach going to Eretz Yisrael the way it is. That's like going to Geula, it's going to Galus. The Rebbe wants to go to Eretz Yisrael with Mashiach. But anyway, it's not the point of this discussion. Good. Mashiach, why do you have to wait? So you say right now Mashiach will come. And anyway, fine. So he says like this. So he says, then you also have how you have, for example, in Kapitel Peites and Tilim, you see how the continuation of the Psukim are describing that Eibusher made a promise to David HaMelech, Karati v'Islev Chiri, how he says, how, he promised that Mashiach will come, and what's happening, the Eibusher said this, you left David HaMelech alone, Cherfu ikves Mashiachecha. Yeah, so he says that this is whatever. These are the three facets. Now, there's another nikud I want to emphasize, which is that these are all levels of. So then he says, now what does it mean to us? It means to us that you mentioned before, it's episally Yeshua. Chacham tell us we have obligation. One of the first question to ask a person after 120 years, is if he waited Mashiach's arrival, the salvation. Now there's two things over here. One thing is, episally Yeshua really has, he says, first of all it means the general Yeshua, the general hope for all Yidden, the general salvation for all Yidden. Then there's also your personal salvation. When we say in Shemoneh Esrei, L'shuascha kivinu kalim, for your salvation, you hope the whole day. So obviously, first and foremost, like I said, the Samech David Avtecha Meres Atzmiach, we're talking about Mashiach. But there's also included in this is the concept that even when in other words, what I'm trying to say is, it's not, whenever a Yid is in its tzara, whenever a Yid is in the stress, he's supposed to hope that the Eibusher will take him out of it. How much more so when all the Yidden are in exile, this is the biggest tzara that there could be. But so he explains that this is the idea of Tzipisa Yeshua, the idea of the trust that a Yid has to have. So now he explains and this is a very fundamental nukud which I wanted to focus on. He says, first of all, just before I say this, there's another word that it's just important to understand. The Eibusher, it's not just the Eibusher promise to bring Mashiach, has to bring Mashiach. He also says the whole purpose of the creation of the world was to bring Mashiach. If there's no Mashiach, the whole creation was for no reason. So here we're talking about trust, because the Eibusher promised, because the Eibusher's chesed, because of the Eibusher's covet. But there's a more fundamental point. So to say, inside the etzem meaning of Mashiach, the whole purpose of the world was Mashiach. Obviously, the Eibusher has to bring Mashiach. But nevertheless, the person trusting the Eibusher, these three facets play a role in the person's feeling of understanding why the Eibusher, Now, he says like this, he says, now, Bitochon, a person says hoping, you mentioned before, why should I hope for something that didn't happen? He says similar word, but he spells it out a little differently. He says, hoping for something that can't materialize is not healthy. It causes too much heartache, too much stress. It's not good for your heart. It's not good for, a person has a dream, he's hoping to win the lottery. He starts gambling, he doesn't win the lottery. It's not healthy for him. Let him give up his dream and live life peacefully. So why should you await things to happen which are too much for you? So he says, like this, says, if it's taka something that's too much, you're right, but over here it's something, he says, if you're believing in something which is a dream, which is false, so the more you hope for it, and the more it doesn't materialize, so the more heartache you have, and the more depressed you get, and it's not healthy for you. But when you trust something that will happen, then not only you don't get depressed, but he says, Kavil Hashem chazak v'yamis lebecha v'kavil Hashem. You know something is true, so meditating about that is, for sure it's going to happen, and you think about the fact that it's going to happen, it gives you more hope. it gives you more strength, and the more strength you get, you're going to hope even more that it's going to happen even quicker. So if he really says this in the Kudah, very interestingly, similar to the word I said before about the mother coming home, he says when you believe something is really true, and so then so right now you don't have it, but you know you're going to get it, and you think about how it's going to be then, so it fills your heart with hope, and that hope strengthens you, gives you koyach to live the moment. And then when you have the more, it says Kavil Hashem, Chazak v'Am Sebecha v'Kavil Hashem. The pasuk says twice. It says hope for Hashem. Your heart will be strengthened and hope for Hashem. It says first you hope, then that hope gives you strength. The more strength you have, the more hope, the more it's mechazik your tikvah that will happen now. So he says the true hope for Mashiach, when you really believe it's going to happen and it really fills your heart with hope, then on the contrary, the more hopeful you get, it's going to happen now. He said, and finishes off, he says, the pasuk, this is the Sefer Ikrim, so right at the end, mamish towards right before the last perek. He says, the pasuk says, it says, if he prolongs the wait his coming, Mashiach's coming, he'll come, he won't delay. It says, I don't understand. Beginning of the pasuk says, he'll delay. Then it says, he won't delay. So he said like this, if he prolongs hope, that hope itself, you should hope that he won't delay, and that hope will make that he won't delay. Anyway, fine, good.
If it comes in urgent, if it doesn't come in urgent.
Was machst du Pulpulin?
That's
Was machst du Kavel Hashem? You strengthen the Bitochon. You have to work on one thing. Strengthen Bitochon. Strengthen Bitochon. All these shilas will go away.
Easy to say.
The Rebbe, finish over the Rebbe's word. The Rebbe says, the strongest oasis of the Rebbe about Bitochon, not demanding a yearning Mashiach, but hope for Mashiach, is in the back of the Likutei Sichos Chelik Zayin. There's a Sikha of the Rebbe Achron Shal Pesach Tav Shel Lamed Beis Lamed Gimel. The Rebbe said there, it says that in the Haftarah of Achron Shal Pesach, which speaks about Mashiach, that Haftarah comes as like in the famous prophecy, Yotzach, whatever, Nachal of Ruach Hashem, the Spirit of Hashem, and the rest of all the famous spoken about Mashiach, comes as a continuation of the story of Chizkiah. Chizkiah, the world conqueror Sanchedav was about to conquer Yerushalayim, and it was a thrown stone from him. It wasn't a big deal for him to conquer it. He says, it's a small city, I'll just wait overnight and I'll take it tomorrow. So it says, Chizkiah told Eibush, he brings down different kings. David HaMelech went to war. This king didn't go to war, but he davened. He said, to go to war, to daven, nothing. And I'm going to sleep, but I trust that by tomorrow morning the weather will be clear. It says that was the night of Pesach. That night, all of Sanchedav's army, which was hundreds of thousands of soldiers, I believe, they all died besides a handful of survivors.
Princesses.
Yeah, besides a handful of survivors. So the Rebbe says this is the type of Bitochon. Why is the Haftarah about Mashiach coming directly as a continuation of the Haftarah of the story of Sanchedav? This is the type of Bitochon Yid has to have Mashiach. According to his cheshbon, Haftarah Mashiach had to come a long time ago. But our cheshbon, we don't understand it. But a Yid has to have Bitochon. And he sleep on his bed and Zayin take it from Yad Mamish.